All right. What's the name of John's new motorbike?
Yes.
Very good.
Very good.
Now, where's something heavy I can throw at that person?
Cool.
Good question.
That's a good question.
Roger's you go first. No, you go first.
Answer first, politically. In terms of program management and product direction, I think Roger laid down the bones of a brilliant product, and I referred to before about the classical elegance of the design of JADE in the early days. I think that because it was Roger's project through and through and product through and through, he felt, and probably to some extent still feels, a very keen sense of ownership of the product. And so I think in terms of moving the product in directions that you, our customers and partners and friends want to take the product, I think probably we would feel that we're more open to listening to external stuff and moving the product in ways that the community wants to go. It's like, when companies move from being managed and run by a founder to bringing in professional management, the tone of the company changes. And I think in a political sense, we've seen that with the JADE product. We've moved from quite a personal and passionate view of the product to a more professional and future-looking view of the product. And I say that with the utmost respect for Roger. I've worked with Roger for 25 plus years. Yeah. He's a wonderful technician. He laid down a brilliant product. I think the time has come to move on to more professional management of that product.
Yeah. It's interesting we talk about Roger's legacy and prior to JADE coming along, the company had a product called Link. Do you remember? And one of the jobs that I used to do in those days was run an internals course. And I always hated that because it wasn't a very consistent product, and there were all sorts of weird things you had to explain. And then when JADE came along, I started explaining JADE. There's some really elegant consistency all the way through. There's an OO paradigm, and it runs the way through the product, right from the way it's built to how it looks at the end product. And so I've never done a JADE internals course, but, well, not we do internally, but never had to stand up publicly and do an internals course, but it would be much easier. I'd be much prouder of the structure. And Roger and Hugh McColl were very much responsible for that consistency. They fought for that consistency over expediency, and that's why you have the elegant product you have today.
John?
Yes, mate. Well, I mean, obviously from that we'll have to look at it because they're not heavily used in the product, and we'll obviously our focus for development will very much be in the web services where there is heavy use.
But we've got no immediate plans to deprecate them,
No.
and we certainly wouldn't deprecate them without consultation and warning. So they will continue to be supported and maintained to run on the latest versions of the browsers, etc. Yeah. Look, Ken, I'd never say never, because 2 years ago I was saying that we weren't going to do anything with a thin client, but we saw the future in other directions. So at the moment we don't have any plans to enhance those, but I mean we do take NFSs and suggestions around different things we could do on the web. Some of that I'm not sure how public it is, but we've had 2 or 3 attempts at generating web-based clients, and they haven't gone well. None of them's ever been actually released. I think we used one internally in JADE team.
Yes, we did.
So it is actually extraordinarily complex to do, and so that's something we might try and do, but it's not on the books at the moment. John, you had a question? Oh, specifically like the next release roadmap? Yep. So it is a slight embarrassment to me as the program manager that we don't have a roadmap up. We should, at this stage, where we are after the release of 2016, have a roadmap available. We're working on that.
I mean, we could put a fairly generic roadmap up, but it would be due after details.
Yeah. So. I'm under pressure to do that from David and the board as well. So we will get it sorted very shortly. I'd say within a month we should have an agreed roadmap up. I'm sorry it isn't there already.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing for the JADE product is it's this little low-level thing, and there's lots of complexity in there. So for us to make a decision that says this we're going to do in 3 months without doing the appropriate investigation forward, we could just be setting ourselves up for failure. So we're trying to get to the stage where the developer can actually say to me, I'm comfortable that I can do this in this period of time before we put a hand up and say we're going to do it.
We're also, and I don't want it to sound like an excuse, but we are also working in a more collaborative way. So it's not like I can just sit down in my office and say this is what we're going to do, bang, bang, bang. All you guys go away and do it. It's more like there's a lot of toing and froing about what we're going to do. I'd like to think that developers have, a much stronger voice. Yeah.
No.
It's not true that it stands for just either. We are looking at language extensions, and without wanting to sound like a broken record, we put type methods into JADE 2016, partly as just to see how we felt about adding language stuff, partly to gauge the response amongst the user community, because people have been talking about they want type methods, so we thought, okay, we'll put them in and see what the uptake is. And also it is a building block for doing some of the things that you talked about, so we can't do overloaded constructors without type methods, although the other side of the coin is that type methods gives you the opportunity to implement something like overloaded constructors through like factory methods. We are doing lots of other sort of things around the language area, mainly in response to NFSs. So we're looking at things like scoped variables, for example, and inline variable declaration. We're not committing at the moment to putting any of that stuff into the next release, but we are actively reviewing what's in the language and how it works, and trying to strike a balance, I guess, between the power and flexibility of some of the other languages and the ease of use of JADE and the somewhat protection it provides against getting yourself into trouble. And I don't want to sound, with LINQ we were very paternalistic about that. We didn't even let users have arrays because, it's a balance.
Yeah, I think we want to protect the simplicity and the clarity of the JADE language. So we don't want to put too much in there, but we're open to the suggestions that are coming in, and we're reviewing them both in terms of how we think people would develop and also what it would take for us to do it.
But certainly, like for probably the last type methods is the first language extension I can recall in a very long time.
Yeah.
So we are moving. ODBC, I guess, continues to be the main method we'd see for people getting external access for external reporting tools, So I'm not sure, I guess, general performance. We've done a few things like ad hoc indexes and stuff that really don't seem to have a huge uptake, I think.
No, it surprised me a little bit, I think. Yeah.
Again, any suggestions or NFSs in the area would be welcome. I know that we don't support, there are some elements of ODBC we don't support. As far as I'm aware, they're not critical, but if they are causing issues, let us know. Other than that, I guess it's just performance. Are we? Sorry. No, that's,
I love it. I love it.
that's a very good question.
Oh,
What I will say is that some of sorry, it is a marketing question, but I was just going to say that I recently did a trip through India, and more than once when people saw me wearing a Jade T-shirt, they did say Jade Stadium. So there you are, even in India. No, says Caroline. Right.
We'll sponsor the old crack one, will we?
Is there are we doing a survey on the user group afterwards? Okay, so you'll cover that. Yep. Yeah. Yes, we've talked about that several times. Now, there are really two main reasons why you might want to do that. So one is that by making the JADE environment open source, we'd take away some concerns about the proprietary nature of it, and in particular the situation where something happened to JADE. So it would be an alternate to the JADE society, so that the feeling that if JADE software went down the gurgler, you could just go to the open source repository and get access to the product. It also, in theory, kind of allows you to review your own faults and stuff and possibly fix them, but the level of technical difficulty within the JADE product is such that we believe, and maybe that's an arrogant belief, that it's going to be very difficult for users to fiddle around inside areas like the database. We have enough trouble fiddling around with it ourselves. The other reason to make it open source is the idea that you then get us, instead of a development plant, a small but perfectly formed development plant here, that we'd have a community of developers out in the world all helping to improve the JADE product. And again, we don't believe that that's a realistic view for this product at that time. We have talked often about open sourcing aspects of the product. Yeah, so it's certainly not off the table, and we're not doing it to protect proprietary license revenue, for example. It's more about what we think would be the best thing for the product. And it is something we have discussed a number of times. It's not currently in play, but you just never know.
I personally, this is just me personally, I'm not speaking for the company, but I personally don't like the idea, because I think one of the things that make JADE what it is the support we offer. And we can only offer that support if it's our code, if you know what I mean. And I think that's really key to, even in the survey I noticed we got some lovely comments about support, and I think that is a cornerstone of who we are as a company.
Possibly.
Go.
Well, again, we've talked of that, and I think we had one or two NFSs in the area. My understanding is that the IDE is extraordinarily complicated and risky.
Yeah, I think I probably would say the same thing. You want to offer a really high level of support in that area, but
we did have an NFS or two.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Microsoft Studio has plugins.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. No, I understand the theory.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, not sure how we do plugins as such in the JADE idea.
and what they do.
What they do.
Bring us your ideas, we'll look at them. Yeah. I guess in particular, if you've got an idea for a plugin, then we could look at what we'd need to do to support that. Yeah, true. That's an interesting question. I don't recall an NFS in the area.
No.
We already do a lot of stuff around, resizing and automatic. Brian, you know more than me, right? Automatic resizing and scaling as the form changes.
What he's referring to more is when you hide stuff, we don't get any automatic everything out. We get things you resize for
Right.
Yeah.
There's all the flow ones where you don't actually want to get in that position. You want the flow on the bottom.
Right.
And if you hide it controls, the flow means we have to reposition.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean,
No, we don't. We've got nothing in that area, but
no, I mean, feel free to put it in there first. I mean, that's what it's there for. And then we can talk about it. Say it again? I'm not telling you that, Brian.
well, we got back to about 2014, didn't we?
We did. We were going like a train until people found out what we were doing. I was getting really, like you get cocky when you're doing something's working. You think, we're going to clear this backlog in no time.
We will get on top of this. We're running them fortnightly now. Great. Yes, again, we have talked about that.
We have talked about that, yep.
I'm sorry, I can't recall what the current.
There's a number of areas around that there's a number of NFSs that relate to that, and we're sort of pulling them together and doing a more general investigation, and then we'll come out with what we might do in the future.
Yep. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Good to know.
Yeah. So that we'll have to do something about public NFSs and voting and that sort of stuff. Obviously, yeah.
I will.
Because I think people might be, not find time to put a detailed NFS in themselves, but they see one they like, they might say,
yeah, and that's helpful for us as well.
Yeah, a Me Too button.
We'll look at what the best thing to do is.
Yeah,
we will do something.
Because we could even put a button in passes so you can go if you could see them.
Yeah, or we're using the Innovation Hub for JMT. We might look at uploading them into that, which is where I want to end up long term anyway. So it's got a whole bunch of stuff that we want. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Good. I've been that embarrassed with one or two that go back 20 years. I think the oldest was put in by Hugh McColl himself.
All right. We're obviously, going to be around for a while longer, and we're going to have drinks. And so now, Caroline, do you want to wrap up? Me? Oh, okay, I thought you were going to say something about a survey. Oh, we'll send it out? Oh, okay. Oh, right, sorry. Okay, so we'll be sending out something to survey how you felt about the user group. We really appreciate the feedback. We want to make these as useful as possible so that you want to keep coming back. We're delighted to have so many people here this year. So let's hope we've gone forwards and not backwards. And, on top of that, I just want to thank you again for coming. I appreciate that some of you have travelled quite some distance. I think Daryl wins that particular prize, having come from Sydney. But we appreciate that everyone, even if you've just come from somewhere else in Auckland, you're giving up a day that you could be spending on working on your own businesses. So we appreciate the time you're putting in to come and help us work on our business. It's been a pleasure to be part of the community again and to catch up with people we haven't seen for a while. Hope you've enjoyed the networking, and we're going to carry on now. I think we've got drinks in the wonderful sea view room, and I hope to see as many as possible at dinner as well. Thank you very much.